Ang init, ang init. This is ang init, ang init, ang init. Ang init, ang init, ang init. This is Ang Init, a podcast that talks about environmental issues with the world, with the youth, and with you. This is episode 1 of Ang Init. For today's episode, we will talk about the hottest and initest issues of today. The massive and toxic spread of industrialization, how it caused land reclamations and the lingering intoxication of pollution, and the greedy effects of money to our soil. But before we start, let us welcome our young speakers. These youth speakers are heavy advocates of the issues they are going to talk about. We learn and we'll listen to them as they discuss each of their topics.
This is Ang Init.
Hi, I'm Sophia number 1, Sophia Marie Andaya.
And I'm Sophia number 2, Sophia Helena Habel.
Roringa Sanda! This is Ang Init's hottest speaker. What's up? I'm Branzel.
Hi, I'm Vera, like the grapes that thrive on the vine.
Your host and your perfection. Hello, I'm Sean.
Hi, I'm Sick. I'm Johnny.
Now that we have met our speakers, let's first kick off our podcast with a line from Wonder Girls. So hot, na 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 na. Just kidding. Land reclamation has been a highly debated topic. Some people agree and some people are against it. This industrialization and reclaiming of land has divided the world. They say that if we widen our land, it will give rise to business enterprises and will provide more jobs to local citizens. Some also say that it is environmentally threatening considering that it will contribute to the damage of the ocean diversity and the rise of sea level. Let's hear more from the two Sophias. What do you think of this issue?
There have been debates with regards to land reclamation. To give you a bit of knowledge about this, land reclamation is artificially generating new land by either draining muddy areas or even filling existing water bodies like oceans, seas, and the like. So speaking of which, tell me, what are your thoughts on the controversial 174-hectare reclamation project?
For me, I kinda get that they wanted to have this reclamation project done as, according to them, it provides more job opportunities for the citizens of Dumaguete. However, my main concern is that it will definitely change the living environment of marine organisms and reduce biological diversity. We've long considered land reclamation as a means of making our city even more prosperous than it is currently, but at what cost?
A professional national scientist even expressed their objection to the said project, saying, quote-unquote, the project will directly destroy, literally bury the few remaining coral reef, seagrass, and soft sediment ecosystems. I mean, development is good, but it should never be at the expense of the environment. What's the point of development when our environment gets ruined, right?
Right. I don't think the benefits of land reclamation are worth the environmental impacts they cause.
That's quite interesting. Thank you for sharing your insights. The widening of industrialization has placed Mother Earth hanging on a thread. What do you think about this, Brands?
You know what? I'm a bit confused about this whole thing. Industrialization is a process by which an economy is transformed from a primarily agricultural one to one based on the manufacturing of goods. So, in simple words, technology should make our lives easier, right? So, why is it contributing to pollution?
Although industrialization brought us many benefits such as more job opportunities and a rise in the standard of living, the unhealthy spread of such industrialization is actually starting to negatively affect our environment and specifically causes industrial pollution.
Oh, wow. That sounds really bad.
Oh, it's bad, alright. It's usually caused by a few things such as burning of fossil fuels, using chemicals which is actually rampant in dying industries, releasing untreated toxic gas and liquid waste, and the improper disposal of radioactive materials. The rate at which these causes contribute to damaging the environment has always been on the rise ever since the industrial period, and at the rate we're progressing, it will only continue to rise.
I can only imagine the effects. In environmental degradation, contamination of drinking water, the release of toxins, the reduction of soil quality, and so much more. It is actually super unfortunate that what was supposed to be a great advancement in how we live our lives is actually super harmful to the environment that houses us.
Say less. I can only hope the situation improves in the future.
I really agree with your points. Personally, this all roots from the greediness of people, their thirst for money and richness. This is how money blinds environmental sustainability and environmental causes. Although we are approaching a more inclusive place where corporations are slowly transitioning into a much more eco-friendly, sustainable, friendly advocacy and mission, we cannot deny that no matter how we combat plastic pollution, if corporations don't stop mass producing them, we will never be able to improve and we will be stuck in an endless cycle.
We can also apply this to our government. Some politicians will push environmentally degrading projects like mining and reclamation for the sake of getting shares of millions of pesos. This might be a controversial topic, but turning a blind eye on this issue will only aggravate and enable those who corrupt our environment for the sake of money.
Youth advocates continue to rally and fight against these projects. Yet, if the people with power do not listen, our voice will be useless. That's why we need to be loud.
Agreed! Use your voice and be heard.
Projects like the 174 reclamation, the Naga mining issues, are examples of how these PPPs corrupt the government for the sake of money.
There are also international issues where corporations mine in foreign countries like India and puts children's lives at risk for the sake of getting makeup ingredients.
How saddening, right? As a social worker, volunteer, and an environmental advocate, we are being constantly told by our elders, "Sorry for failing your generation." This disheartening phrase has stuck to me and has opened my eyes into why our voices are getting louder and louder and how these issues come to light by the day. For our next topic, we will talk about what is happening to the world right now and how it came to be. What are your thoughts about these?
The past generations have definitely created the climate crisis, which is now affecting the newer generations. It's really concerning that this crisis and some other environmental issues are accelerating at an unprecedented rate.
Exactly. A prime example of that is climate change. Ever since the start of the Industrial Revolution, our planet has warmed significantly with the influence of burning fossil fuels and gas emissions. What makes it even worse is that it is our generation that's taking initiative on trying to salvage and clean up the past generation's mess.
Right. It's so alarming that the world has continued to burn fossil fuels, which led to the increase of carbon dioxide levels and caused immense global warming. As a result, rising sea levels, increased temperature extremes, and stronger hurricanes and typhoons are among the immediate consequences of climate change that individuals now are witnessing.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, I'm assuming that y'all have heard of the scientists protesting and warning us to cease greenhouse gas emissions or else we're doomed, right?
Yeah, that issue caused an uproar worldwide. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change reported that if we don't cut down on greenhouse gas emissions by 2025, we'd face catastrophic climate effects. We only have a little over 3 years before that time comes. It's actually terrifying.
But it's sad that even with protests from actual scientists who study the climate and the environment telling and warning us of the effects of climate change, large corporations still continue to ignore these warnings. Imagine risking your job just to warn the public. I've not seen any braver actions, not gonna lie.
Nice. What makes it more sad is that these scientists are getting arrested for protesting. Arrested? What kind of world are we living in that scientists are getting arrested for warning the people of potential catastrophic danger? I can only hope that when we do take action, it won't be too late. Nice.
This is just depressing. These scientists are already releasing scientific-based studies with concrete proof saying our world would be in crumbles when we don't attend to this environmental crisis.
It's scary knowing that we might be boiling in the next 50 years. This issue has come on Twitter for a day and has been quiet ever since. It's up to us to reroute this destined prophecy and up our game. We are fighting against the giants.
If we don't take action, better find another planet.
Avoid using plastics. Volunteer for cleanups and protests. Do anything to help the environment and your community.
Our voices will be heard. Just stand up, no matter how young, how old, or be loud. Our complacency is what fuels our negligence. And I think this is one thing that we should all ponder on. It's a big pill to swallow. So get out of your house and help. Because once the 5 years has passed and we couldn't do anything about our Earth, just face it, we're all gonna be doomed. So just like what John Hill said, avoid buying plastics, volunteer for cleanups and protests. I think that's what we should all do, because that's the only thing that will always help our environment. No matter how big of a change or no matter how small of a step we'll take, it's one step closer to the future we all want. And that's it for today's episode of Ang Init. We hope that this podcast has enlightened you with the hot and brewing issues of Mother Earth. This podcast hopes to make you take a stand and fight for the world we live in. As the youth, our voices keep being stepped on. We aren't heard because we aren't loud enough. Get out of your homes and protest. Join volunteer groups and start a discussion. Through this, we will be able to catalyze change in less than 5 years. Take a stand because this is our future. Once again, thank you for listening to Ang Init. I'm Sean Aranyes, and see you next time.